What's going on, guys? Welcome back to First and Goal on YouTube. My name is Sam Levine, and it is 1:30 right now, and that means it has been an hour and a half since the college football playoff rankings have been released. So we have them here. Let's get right into them. I want to start off with my reactions to the four playoff teams, so let's talk about that. Number one is going to be Alabama. That's a no-brainer. Alabama has been by far the best team in college football this year. They're SEC champions too, so clearly when you win the best conference in college football, you deserve a playoff spot. They're 11-0 on the year. Best wins against Florida, number 7 last night, which was a thriller. 52 to 46. They won that one. They've also beaten Texas A&M, number 5, and number 11 ranked Georgia. Good stuff. Great wins, and all SEC teams, who I obviously think is the best conference in college football. And their big three. Let's talk about their big three for a second, because the big three is fantastic. Mac Jones, he's probably going to win the Heisman at this point. Last night, he kind of cemented that award for himself with a 5-touchdown, 400-plus performance against Florida in the SEC championship game. Then Devontae Smith, 15 receptions, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns last night. He's been balling all season. He is 100% winning the Biletnikoff Award as well. No doubt in my mind. He's that good. There's no debate. There is no conversation. He has been far and away the best wide receiver in the NFL. Or, not the NFL, in the nation. And then Najee Harris, the running back for the Crimson Tide. He's broken out this year for sure. Leads all running backs in the touchdown category. He's up there in yards as well. And last night, he had 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns in a championship game. 4 in the first half. He's insane. He is an insane player. Incredible mix of power and speed. He just gets it done with such efficiency week in and week out. He's going to be a massive player if Alabama can make it to the national championship game. And they are my pick to win the whole thing, obviously, because right now they are the best team in college football. No debate. Number 2 came out as Clemson. They are the ACC champions of 2020, and they are 10-1. Their best wins are against number 7 ranked Miami, who they beat the socks off of them. They won 42-17. So obviously, beating a top 10 team by that margin, big check. Then number 2 Notre Dame yesterday in the ACC championship game. They beat them by a big margin as well. 24 points was the difference between the two scores. They scored 30. Clemson scored 35 overall. And when this Clemson team has Trevor Lawrence at the helm, when they have him leading their team into battle, the only team that I think can beat them is Alabama. That's how good this offense is, with Amari Rodgers, Cornell Powell, Travis Etienne, and Lawrence is just the best quarterback in college football, and it's not even close. His mechanics are fantastic. His accuracy, it's great what he can do. He is a stupendous player on offense. The one thing I will say is that they need to use Travis Etienne more. He only got 10 carries in that game yesterday, which is okay when you're playing Notre Dame, who isn't the best team that they will have to play in the CFP, but they're going to need to use Etienne more. It's a similar situation to the Saints not using Alvin Kamara to his fullest, because Alvin Kamara is the Saints' best offensive weapon, for sure. And they haven't really been using him to their advantage as much as they probably should be. And same thing here with Travis Etienne. He is their best offensive weapon. They need to use him more. He needs to be a huge factor in the upcoming game against Ohio State if they're going to walk away with a win. They're going to need to tear into that Ohio State defense, who hasn't been great this season. Then, number 3 is, of course, Ohio State. The Buckeyes are the Big Ten champions. They won that yesterday in a dogfight against Northwestern. They are 6-0. They've played the least games out of any of these teams on this list, anyone who made the college football playoffs. Best win is against number 9 Indiana and number 14 Northwestern. yesterday. They beat them in the Big Ten championship game. That was quite the matchup if you watched it. Justin Fields played really bad football. Not good against the Northwestern defense, who's actually a very good unit. So, but you expect your elite quarterback to step up in those big moments. Trey Sermon, though. Trey Sermon went off. He had created a new all-time record for rushing yards in a single game by a running back, over 300 yards on the day for Sermon, which is mind-boggling. It's a mind-boggling stat right there. So if he can continue playing like that into the playoffs, that is a huge thing for Ohio State, because he's been all right through the regular season, but if he can play that way against Clemson, if he can play that way against Alabama, then, this Ohio State team has a real shot to go all the way, because if Justin Fields get back on track, they have Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, probably the best wide receiver duo in the NFL, in the college football world right now, with Jalen Waddle out for Alabama. But if all four of those guys, Fields, Wilson, Olave, and Sermon, can be playing their best football, the sky's the limit for this Ohio State offense. They really have all the tools. They have all the skill and all the players on their roster to win a national championship. I just need to see it against Clemson first, because if they beat Clemson, then they really have a shot to walk away with the national championship trophy. Now, number 4, Notre Dame. Now, this is a controversial one because they lost in the ACC title game, and they are the first team without a win let me rephrase. They are the first team in college football history, or college football playoff history, to lose in a conference title game and still make the playoffs. They are 11-1. They deserve to be here. They deserve a playoff spot. I truly believe that, despite losing big to Clemson. Their best wins are versus number 2 Clemson, who they beat without Trevor Lawrence. Clemson was starting the freshman DJ Uiagalelei. And then, of course, they beat number 19 UNC, which is actually a very good win because UNC's offense is stellar. They have a very, very talented offense, one of the best in the entire nation. So that is a good win, but it's not like an Alabama, and it's not like a Ohio State, and we saw just yesterday, it's not like Clemson. UNC and that offense without Trevor Lawrence, they aren't on par with these 3 teams. So I really think Notre Dame's going to be a first-round exit to Alabama, because Alabama they're ridiculous. It's insane how good they are. Notre Dame does not match up with them. I don't care how good Notre Dame's defense is, and I've been singing their praises all year. I think they're a very good unit, but they won't be able to stop Alabama. Granted, I don't think any defense will be able to stop Alabama, but Notre Dame's offense also doesn't have the ability to go pound for pound with the Crimson Tide offense. So it's not looking good for Notre Dame. I just don't see any way where they get to the national championship game. And then, so those are the 4 teams that will make the college football playoff, but I want to talk about one team that won't. Cincinnati. The only reason that Cincinnati is not making the college football playoff, the only reason is because they are in a Power 5 conference. If they went 9-0, which they did, they currently are a 9-0 team. If they went 9-0 and were in a Power 5 conference, they would 100% be in the college football playoffs over Notre Dame right now. But even still, even though they aren't in a Power 5 conference, they need to be top 6 and probably top 5, and they aren't either of those. Oklahoma is the 6th seed right now, and Texas A&M is the 5th seed. They need to be higher. Cincinnati needs to be there. They have 3 wins over top 25 teams, so showing you they can beat top teams, right? Ranked teams. Those are good wins. They are conference champions, too, so they own their conference. And, yeah, the only reason they aren't even a top 3 team, they'd be better than they'd be higher than Ohio State if they were in a Power 5 conference. But they're going to have at least 5 players that get drafted in the 2021 NFL Draft. They are a great team. Really, really good squad that they've put together there in Cincinnati. And I think it's a shame that they aren't in a Power 5 conference, because I'd love to see this Cincinnati team and see what they could do against some of the best, because right now, on paper, they definitely have a top 5 team in the nation. So that is going to wrap it up for my college football playoff reactions. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please drop a like, consider subscribing, and share it with a friend. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of First and Goal, go check out the podcast, First and Goal with Sam Levine. That is uploaded every Thursday, every weekday, every Thursday. Every week, once a week, on Thursday. And then if you want some quicker news and analysis for your article fix, go check out the website, firstandgoalfootballtalk.com. I post articles multiple times a week there, and if you want to stay in the loop on everything that I post, record, broadcast, whatever it is, follow the Twitter, First and Goal FB. So that is going to wrap it up for this edition of First and Goal on YouTube, episode 12, and I will see you next time on First and Goal.